Congrats! It's finally here. Part 2 that nobody had even asked for. Seeing this abomination have so many views and so many questions, this was bound to happen eventually. Let us read these comments together. I've been trying to figure out why mine won't sync for ages. Please, what do you mean by something added at the end of it at timestamp 506? The best way I can describe this is you create a new track, add some notes, right? First you gotta select the singer. So I desperately am going to find Yokune Ruko, specifically his power voice bank. You know, I'm gonna switch this to JPBCB because it'll be easier, but so this is the original Japanese kana. You know, it sounds like that. I should probably move it together because it's supposed to be little clips from some, like a zuki. So I'm just gonna do zu and then ki. So when I go to convert this by multi hiragana, it's not gonna do it here. Zuki. It's actually gonna say Zuki. Zuki! Now, if I go back to the default, okay, Zuki, it's not gonna work. It doesn't necessarily work. It doesn't even render. What I meant by extra things, sometimes you have to look a little bit extra here, like here. That's it! Which, in this case, you don't want the you want something like this. And then the same case here, you want the Zuki. And then whatever, so Zuki. So it actually says Zuki in this case. Hope this helped for your questions for why your voice wasn't wanting the voice. It just needed a little bit extra things like either the B4 or this little dash in the front because it's not a CV bank, CV bank, it is a VCV bank. Now what you can do is, again, go into the JAVCV and, you know, it still works like that, but if you physically type Zuki, it's the same thing. It renders exactly the same, but it's less of the extra stuff. So I hope that helped. 053. I don't understand. How did you know which notes to click? I'm gonna give a long story short. You don't necessarily have to create your own files. You can always just borrow other people's USDs or VSQs. Please credit them. However, when I create my files from scratch, so having some form of perfect pitch can help in situations like these. But with the program I was using, I also had a reference track in the background, which you can import. I hope this helps. Any tips to finish step 1 fast? I don't know how to play any instruments. I can't identify music notes. Do you have ear training before? Nope. One major tip I can give is to never rush your vocal tracks. You'll find so many errors, trust me, I've done it before, I'm never doing it again. One other thing I can recommend is to find a MIDI file of whatever song you want to cover. I can't help you with the lack of instrument knowledge, sorry. Is OpenUTAU suitable for covering Ado songs, like an Italian version of Usewa? There is a section where you have this new part, right? And then there's this little Phantomhive thing here. What you want to do is, this is all the ones I've used recently, but what you want to do is go to more, and then here's, these are all the general ones, but there's German, English, Spanish, French, and then there's also Italian, and then off screen is Russian, Vietnamese, Chinese, and Cantonese, but there is an Italian synthesizer for diff singer and Italian CDVC and syllable-based equalizer. There are these, you can make Italian covers, but I also think it depends on the vocal, so I hope that helps. Bro, I need help. I got a UST, and then when I copied to OpenUTAU, Teto was only speaking some syllables, and that rhythm sign that appears when you put on some note waves was simply not appearing. I want to create a cover so bad. Wow. Again, like how I demonstrated earlier with Ruko, it depends on the voice bank whether it is CV or VCV. Hope this helps. Can we import USTs into OpenUTAU? Yes. This one wasn't necessarily a comment, but it was asked to me via server. Couldn't figure out how to download voice banks. What you want to do is search up the name of your voice bank. So for example, I'm gonna look up Yamine Renri. Oh look, Google search. So click on the UTAU wiki. It'll bring you to the UTAU wiki. You want to scroll down to where it says sources. Then it will give you whatever website they have. So in this case, here is Renri's website, built by Wix.com. You are a true Chad. But we are looking to install her UTAU voice bank, and I'm looking to install her normal voice bank. So I would click download, and I already did all of this ahead of time. So it will open a new tab, and it will say download blah 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 blah. So you download the file, right? You're done. You download the file. So what you want to do after that is open UTAU, project, go to tools, install Singer, and then you find your zip file over here, open, and then it will open up into archive file encoding, which you can switch to whatever, but it will look like this. So you want to usually use Japanese, Shift JIS, which will show up normally over here. Click next, same thing here, file encoding, whatever, it's all proper. So you just click next, Singer type, this is an UTAU, so you want to click install, and then down here it'll start installing all of the files. The good thing about this is you don't have to extract the zip file unless you want to extract the zip file. However, you would need to create the Singer folder in OpenUTAU if you do not already have the Singer folder. Basically, just drag and drop the folder in there, and then you should be good to go. Another thing I do want to recommend is your renderer, default renderer, which I can't change, but you do not want to use wordline R, you want to use some other form of resampler. I use more sampler or resampler, same thing. But yeah, I hope this really helps with making covers, and yeah. Another thing I get asked frequently is how do you tune in UTAU? It can be a little complicated. That's okay, so I'm just gonna see, I have these little notes here, and I'm gonna do a little goofy tidbit the classic Sega meme. Like, Sega! Right? So, if you don't know what tuning is, it's basically where you get to mess with the little note parameter thing here. It's a feature, all Vocaloid, UTAU, Symphony, they all have this. But this is just what it sounds like, not tuned. Sega! Sounds really flat, right? So what the funny little pitch bend, you can actually, with OpenUTAU, I really like this, you can actually draw it. So, Sega. So something like this, right? Sega! But it doesn't sound right. This doesn't sound right, so I'm gonna just delete this. Right? Sega! Right? You want to spice things up a little bit, add a little bit of vibrato, Like, Sega! But, you can always just play around with it. Sega! But people like to get crazy with their note bends. You can have it be like something as wild as, I apologize, headphone users, but Sega! But basically, I I know this sounds a little silly, but when we try and go as well, for me, I try and go as realistic as possible. So when I go to say Sega, I'm not gonna say Sega. I'm gonna be like Sega, but like Sega, and then have a little bit of a vibrato at the end. Like this, so.
Sega.
And just for a little extra flair, I'm just gonna do a little up thing like so.
Sega.
Like that. And that's pretty much the basics to tuning. I do have another example for prime example of tuning. This is for an upcoming cover of mine, but I have a lot of, you can see I have this little breath here in the opening. I have a lot of, pitch bends. It's not as crazy as some of my other covers are, but you can tell it's just pitch bends for the most part right here. But once we get over here towards the chorus a little bit, for example, right here mainly.
不明なツイスト項目のタイトル不明のナンバーが途端に耳元流れ出したい生き残りたいでしょ
You can see more of the vibratos and more of the emphasized tuning here, but I'm not supposed to show this, but shh, that's not supposed to matter. But yeah, I hope this clears up any confusions of tuning that you may have. And yeah.
わからない今君の眠る隣でこんなことばかりを思う僕は何度も向き合って目を塞いだの君は隣でいびきをかいてる見ないで理解できないでしょまるで咲いてしまっただけの花何も言えない書き消せないどんな耳にくくつくでしょ見ないで理解されないならここでさっさと消えてだけの花生まれたはずのお話のみ呼吸を止めてああもういい